Now,
this is such a juicy topic, boys and girls.
Yeah. Now,
so somebody in the chat room participated. We should address and let them
Mike
know.
says,
I never had any girls that I liked. I was too shy to get that close. Ha ha ha. And he also, yeah, I never understood that. I've seen a lot of nice women dating complete dicks.
so we're going to explain that a little bit more. Like I said, when we looked at that meme, we were like, holy crap.
That's so true.
Because, yeah.
And we're supposed to put up with it.
Now, I will tell you, we're supposed to put up with it, that's true. All I can tell you is I must have been the opposite. I remember when a boy broke my crib, and I beat the crap out of him. But then I was in grade school, and there was a boy behind me, and my friend was in front of me, and he was always trying to talk to her. And she said, well, tell him this. So I turned around to tell him this, and he slapped me hard. Now, that story about how boys hit girls because they like them wasn't true in my case. So,
oh yeah,
but yet
I
at the same
guys
time,
that were
I
dicks
remember
just
that.
to be dicks, and
Yeah.
they didn't have any of those feelings.
Most of the people that are shy are those introverts that can't put that energy out there so that they can be seen. You out there, it's like people say, oh, Jen, you know, you look so young. And then when they get to know her, they're like, you're how old?
Right, yeah.
Okay? It's that time period of getting to know one another. So when you're not putting your energy out there, but yet you let people in, sometimes you can't, you're in the friend stage because you're not putting the energy out there that you would like more. Now, there are some people that do put the energy out there that they want more, but then all they do is drool. And you're like, I can't do that. That is because it's the attraction factor. It goes back to, again, back to the meme. It goes back to how you knew. My father is very disrespectful. My father really wanted us, if he was angry, he's going to beat the crap out of us. Father did many mean things to us. So I, as I grew up, thinking I'm not going to attract people like my father, but I did. A guy that had to be first. I always had to insert what their life was in my life. You know, they want to go do sports? Well, it's too bad. This is what we're doing. They want to drink, which I have no problem with drinking. Jen and I tip back a martini or two, so it's not that it's the problem with drinking. It was how they wanted to do it. It was their life. And sports, bars, everywhere.
And why they were
Why was I
drinking,
involved?
And why were they drinking, and how much did they drink, and what
they're avoiding, and all this other stuff.
Right.
And it wasn't until I got, you know, my first husband, I was like, now he was a great person, but just not for me. When we started dating, he was awesome, but when his parents, that never fought in front of him, he didn't know about fair fighting, he ended up hearing about their breakup when they, well, I kicked your father out because he's an asshole. Never heard the mother swear, never heard nothing, never. And all of a sudden, this just blew him to pieces. And he sat in my driveway, and I thought, why is he sitting in the driveway? So finally, I walk out to the car, and then he's telling me, and he's in shock. A couple months later, we're still moving on with life, and I watched the nuances change. But I thought, okay, no big deal. He's still going through his stuff, no big deal. And then we got married, and then he became like his father. And which then caused me to put up with the idea that I just married my father. Frequency, behavior, the way he treats women, he's hurt, he's going to do this. Now, the one thing that he didn't do was to drink, but he would hang out at places so he could always have fun, to run away from things, hate home life, do this. And he never really wanted to work. It was a hard work, but never really wanted to work. He would always put somehow somebody else would work. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly my father. And I couldn't believe it. So the second man I married, okay, I would have never married him. Except for the fact is that I consciously said, all right, you know what? I want to start dating again after the divorce. I'm ready. And then when they lined up the 12 guys, and when I saw the common thread in all of them, I said, oh my God, I can't be my authentic self. Because I didn't have one. I was taught you love unconditionally. And you would think there was nothing wrong with that. But when you love unconditionally, you're putting up with certain things. You don't create healthy boundaries.
You become a doormat.
Exactly. And then you're attracting in that you have to be treated this way, because I never had any other way, a role model about what a man and a woman was supposed to be like. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, what? And I said, okay, creating healthy boundaries, I'm going to learn to have my voice. And I went from one extreme to another on that one. I did create a voice where I couldn't say nothing before. Oh, hell, get out of my way. That muffler's bad. Don't tell me it isn't. Get me another mechanic before I go in, whatever. And it's like, I didn't want to go that extreme either. So I had gone from one extreme, completely unconditional love, to I'm cutting off the love. And then I started to come back to the center, but I had a backbone. I understood the growth. But the man that I'm married to, God says, I said, okay, I'm ready to get married. And when God said it was supposed to be him, I'm like, what? He's a great man, but I'm not attracted. How do you, what? And I didn't have a pathway for it. I had a pathway for great men to be for other people, because every time I thought of a cute boy, or I thought he was nice in school, he'd always choose my friend. He was for somebody else. So it was foreign to me to have somebody actually for me. And the ones I dated in school, well, one died, and the other one treated me like crap. I mean, he liked me, and I gave him he was the shy kid. I gave him a chance, but then when we both deflowered. The point is that guess what? He got a man shift. I've got confidence now, and so he didn't want me. He wanted other women then.
Right. Okay, that's done. Now I can move on to whatever's next.
And it was, holy crap! And he became an quiet guy. I should say, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like where'd the hell that come from? But you get to be attracted to it. So I learned to put myself out there. I've learned to be vulnerable without having to attract the pain. Yes.
I just realized something that needed to be taken care of on our last break. I forgot.
Okay, is that good or bad, I hope?
It's dinner.
Oh, that's okay. You'll do it later.
Okay.
And one thing that occurred was, again, I got to start having a voice. And when I asked God, I said, okay, you've put me and him together. I've seen how he acts. He's awesome, but I can't seem to create the shift. Well, then I said, you either show me or I'm out of here. And when I turned to look at my husband now, he had a halo above his head, and my heart melted, and I was able to see all the stuff that I couldn't see. And now it's 18 years later, and I'm happy, and I love it, and I'm happy he's in my world. And he was a very quiet, shy guy. He constantly thought girls didn't like him. He had given up on dating. He said, screw it. And he was going to be a bachelor for the rest of his life, and then I called him up. So there's hope for people out there. But you got to be willing to put yourself out there, too.
Right, and it's that attraction factor. And so you talk about the pathway thing. So what I've read in, because at one point my ex and I were preparing to have children, so I read up on this whole thing about what you do with kids. And one of them, what they've been, I guess a new model is how to argue in a healthy way in front of the kids so that they see resolution. So it's not that, this is going to hurt their ears and we shouldn't argue in front of them and oh my gosh. No, it's okay. We disagree because you're not saying that you're never going to disagree and you don't want to teach them to find somebody you don't disagree with. But when you do disagree, what's the resolution process?
Exactly.
And so they see the beginning, the middle, and the end, and they see the whole life of the thing and realize, okay, and then you come back together and you still are that loving couple even though you've had this disagreement.
Yeah, and it's good
and
to
that's
understand.
That would be a whole new pathway for a whole different new generation of people.
Because the resolution, if you use the healing tools, can make the issue disappear.
Exactly.
You know, not sweeping it wrong, you actually resolved it. The idea of being vulnerable, again, when you're with a mate, you want them to be who they are. You don't want to find out later. You can find their good qualities, but to be authentic is showing up every day the way that you know that you want to be responsible for. This is the way I want to show up. I do my best to stay authentic on Facebook and wherever it is, because this is what you're going to get. And to put yourself out there, I was a very shy person, never put myself out there. And the 12 guys that I'd end up dating, God delivered those. But as I said, putting myself out there, I have a lot of suitors now that even though I'm married,
They're still interested.
They're still interested, which shocks the crap out of me because I never had that. Is he threatened by it? Yeah, no. You know, he's learning to realize, oh, that's what happens.
Well, and it's also that charisma. So how can you be a married person, have that charisma, have a fan base, still honoring the marriage? Because that's who you are.
Yes.
Is both of you is to honor that marriage commitment. It's not but it is developing that fan base and understanding that you're going to have people, probably of both genders and whatever identities and all that kind of stuff, saying, hey, we really like you. And that's a good thing, because they are hungry for what you have to offer.
When men say, okay, you know what, I don't have a ring on my finger, and women just turn, no, they don't want none to do with me. But as soon as I put a ring on my finger, and I'm married, all of a sudden these women just come out of nowhere. What the hell is that about? It's the energy of putting yourself out there again.
Right,
You feel complete.
I have one of my really close friends that he thinks it's hilarious.
But you feel complete. You don't feel like you got to look for somebody, and you feel more confident because you are complete.
Right, you get to be yourself, and you don't have to worry about what's going to happen at the closing time. Because you've got that mate to go home to.
And a lot of women unconsciously, oh, I'm looking for somebody that wants to be in a relationship, and usually a ring represents a person who wants to be in a relationship. But not all women are like that either. It is also the generation of what is being taught into the movies and the show. Castle had that happen when Salt and Pepper, as they referred to, as that when the one got married, he goes, let me have your ring, dude. I got to pick up this chick. He's like, you ain't getting my wedding ring. Well, they end up giving her the wedding ring, couldn't get the dang thing off.
Right,
That was funny.
Hilarious.
But it's also what's being taught. But it's another perspective. That's all it means. Yes, this is happening. Yes, this stuff's out there. But do you have to be a victim in any of this stuff? Now, going back to if you put yourself out there. If you put yourself out there knowing that you're going to get hurt, the knowing is going to be the attraction factor and to bring into the relationship that, yeah, you're right. So you can collect proof and so that you can stay in your wounds. But if you go out there and you just start being yourself, living your dream, learning to heal that you're afraid or whatever it is you need to do. I had to heal shyness. Oh my God, my mother said I was the worst kid in the world when it came to shyness. All you ever saw was an eyeball and some hair that ever was behind my mother's skirt. I mean, you didn't know if I was a boy or a girl because I could never be seen. But shyness, if you go a little bit further on the definition, it means you dislike something. I know I didn't like other people's energies because it meant that they're going to insert their world into mine. No, I don't want that to happen. And so I kept trying to avoid it, get away with it, because it's their judgment that was the hardest. I saw vibrations very young, so when people would use their judgment but smile at you, you're like, you're lying.
Exactly.
You knew, oh, you're such a pretty thing, and you're like, that's not what you're thinking. And it's kind of harsh as a kid to know that.
Right, and when the kid says, well, why are you feeding me lies? And the parents get embarrassed because their kids tell them the truth.
Oh God, yeah, especially
at
the store.
She's so precocious.
That's funny. Okay, so let's go a little bit further on the itching ear thing. Again, we like to help you understand that things in life represent something, or some things in life represent life as.
Right, and that your soul is talking to you. And how is your soul talking to you? And one way, a big way, is through this thing called a meat suit through your body saying, hello, pay attention.
And this particular meat soup issue,
It's called stew.
She was stewing the other day too. I said, eventually I'm just going to make stew.
Right.
Okay, but anyway, this meat suit issue is about itchy ears and urban hermit blues. They're intensely involved in a deep-seated sense of separation and isolation. Did you feel when you were growing up that you had a lot of separation and isolation?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if you have any of that right now. Say, I feel separated.
I feel separated.
Ooh. I feel isolated.
I feel isolated.
Ooh. And it's safe for me to stay isolated.
It's
yes.
safe.
I have to separate myself. Yes. So you have both ways. So you may want to write that down and want to heal that. But it goes a little bit further. They say they feel rejected by God because of their negativity. Well, guess what? We checked her. That's not in her case. As a result, they try to suppress What do I mean by suppress?
That's the sweeping under the carpet. That's the shoving it down somewhere in my,
So nobody sees it.
Nobody sees it.
Or take care of it, of any and all of their needs. Now here's the thing, they are trying to suppress or take care of, ready? Any and all of their needs, wants, and desires entirely on their own. So you couldn't allow people to see your needs and your wants. Is that true?
That's true. I couldn't have any of those.
Yeah, and most of the time when you are met with the energy that looks like it's going to attack, yeah, you don't want anybody to know about your needs and your wants. And that needs to be addressed and resolved.
And to some degree, it was like only my sister could have them.
So you saw that somebody else could have them, but you couldn't because there wasn't enough to go around.
Right, and that,
But what happens, do you remember anything about when you stepped up and say, hey, I have a need and want? What would happen?
either my sister would make me feel like crap about it. Why are you saying anything? You're gonna be a burden. I mean, my mom was a single mom starting when I was 9 years old. She was a single mom, taking care of both of us. My dad was consistently late with the child support, and so it was, I just couldn't have anything.
Go ahead, talk. Keep talking. Don't get distracted.
And so yeah, so for a long time it was growing up on mac and cheese and the fish sticks and the TV dinners and that kind of thing. And if I needed anything extra, it was ask your dad for that. When you go see your dad, ask your dad for that. So then it was my stepmom would make me, yeah, they could provide, but it was, if I wanted to earn extra money, it was I had to do work around the house for it and that kind of. So it was, there were all kinds of mixed messages. And then my sister, after high school, went to UC Berkeley, got a computer. For graduation, she got a car from college.
Rewards and other
so
things.
there were all these rewards, and then when it came to me, it was like, well, we didn't expect that you were going to be going to college.
Oh God, I mean, it hurts to some degree because you probably showed no signs that you wanted to, but when you finally did, we didn't save for it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's not that they, why didn't they try to come up with it?
Yeah.
All right, what we're gonna do is take a small break. We'll be back after this. Free wood.
Yep,
So now
firewood for the
house.
wood stove for next door, so that's good.
So we thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, going back to itchy ears. So again,
Not being able to express my needs and desires and wants because I knew on some level that they weren't going to be met, and that my sister got to be provided for and I didn't.
and that's another way of separating yourself. If you take that knowing, put on a scale from 0 to 10 and give it a color, she can then tap it out, change it, because without her realizing it, she already gets her needs met as an adult. Back then, it was true. Now it's not. Now it's not so true. I mean, you have an event this weekend, and you were like, "Oh, I didn't get my paycheck. What am I going to do?" Well, you had 3 offers. I mean, without really saying anything, the universe stepped up to take care of you.
When I tapped
stopped being separated. Go ahead.
the other night when I saw an issue of, I see lack in my world. All I
And that's
see
a want and a
is-
desire and a need.
All I see is lack. And they're not having, they're not being able to provide. So I did the meridian tapping tool on seeing that. And then the message that I heard on a knowing level was, because I started panicking about if I was going to be able to go do this event, was just act as if and you'll be provided for. And so it wasn't going to do, after this healing, the point was not to go back into that panic mode,
Right.
but understand that something was going to happen. So I had somebody offer gas money, then it was an abundance of recycling, so I can go turn in the deposits, so then I can have that. Then I'm going to go take care of somebody to get to this event, and then I'm going to be reimbursed for the gas. So it was all of a sudden, okay, I can do this.
And when she talked about one knowing, it was a knowing of, I have lack, she needs to heal that out. And it was a showing that I have lack, I have to separate myself from my wants. Even though I have a want and a need and desire, I know from fact that in the past, because there's proof that she needs to tap it out, that proof that I can't have that. I can't have those needs and wants. Now, when she took it out.
And then also my ex, that voice in my head, I also used a meridian tapping on this, of I'm wasteful for all the driving that I do and costing gas money, and then I was being blamed as the burden that way in my marriage. So I tapped that out with the meridian tapping tool also.
That is true. And you can use thought management also to kick the people out. But when that pops back up, even though you use thought management, you're more
It's
aware
a different
of
issue. It's for a specific issue.
But you will be more aware of it, and you're like, oh, that's a tie to this. Then you write it down, tap it out, and then you won't have to, because before, if you didn't write down thought management, you didn't do it, then you probably wouldn't be aware of the fact that those thoughts are in your head. Now, the panic mode, if she had healed it out and the panic mode come back, that just tells you layers. Go back and heal it again. It just means it's not finished. When she gets that done, then it should become naturally to have her just be willing to participate by saying, oh, well, I know this event's happening. Okay, now I live in expectancy that, if I'm supposed to go, I'm going to do it. So she acted as if. Now, she said she knew on another level. That's not the knowing we're telling you to tap out. In this case, this is the knowing of trusting the higher self, the angels and the guides, of saying, just act as if. And you're allowing yourself to already know that you're being taken care of. And this is a big trust and a threshold of watching it unfold. Because again, she had to trust when she left her husband that she was going to be taken care of. She lives in California, or at least that's where her roots come from, but she's already over here in Michigan, and that's quite a few miles. Well, what is she going to do? Well, the Lord provided and said, hey, I'm going to set this person up, you're going to talk to this person, you're going to take them to this, this, and this, and that. And she was being taken care of, but it's changing the pathway of what she knows. The pathway is lack, I don't have, I can't show people my needs, oh my God. So this is then where you live in Skid Row and feelings, but you never really lived there because you're always being taken care of. So, there's a pathway. Two energies are coming at you at the same time, a positive and a negative. We've always covered up the positive with the negative because that's what we have proof on. She has a lot of proof of the other, but she was never told consciously to notice it. And now that she does, she got 3 offers to help out, and she didn't have to say a dang thing. The universe says, oh good job! You see it.
Right.
I swear to God, okay, pop bottles.
They're 10 cents in Michigan. Hey, did you see that Seinfeld episode where they wanted to drive all the way here in the mail truck to return the bottles? Anyway.
And but you gotta make sure it says 10 cents on it.
Right.
Okay, but the most funny part is that I said, oh, we had cleaned out, oh, here's some money, 10 cents, what, a couple dollars worth of that. And we went next door looking for our Charlie Brown Christmas ornaments, couldn't find them. Not sure where they disappeared to, they're huge. We open up this stairway, cupboard that goes under the stairway. Harry Potter lived?
Yeah, Harry Potter.
I've got one of those. And we open it up, and it's like wall-to-wall pop bottles. I said, oh my God, I think this is supposed to be for Jen. And we're looking at them, so we pull out one.
It's a mountain.
Okay, pulled out one. Pulled out more. Scott's in there.
Dig
oh
in.
My God, there's more! You hear tank.
Rolling off his back onto the floor.
It's like it was a never-ending cupboard under the stairs.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, goody me! Oh, goody me! I'm like, oh my God, bag it up is all I got to say. I'm going next door, so you're going to be hours here.
That's a good thing.
Did it all fit in the car?
Yes, it all fit in my car.
Okay, yeah, I noticed I found another bag as I was walking through, and I thought, seriously? Wow, good job, Jen. So she's got another bag to shove in her car, just hope she's got enough to drive. And if you put the clear ones just right, you should be able to look through like a windshield. Or
well, I can see out the front.
back.
I can see out the front. It's only a 10-minute drive to the store. But yeah, and I'm helping the environment.
Yeah, that's funny. But yes, so her needs are being taken care of. She just has to heal that knowing. Oh yeah, go ahead. Tell about the witness.
So after doing the healing, and you use a healing tool, we say use a healing tool, and then you go use a healing tool. You really need to notice when the world, universe, your life,
Life as you
God,
know it.
angels, whatever you want to call it, shifts, and you
Yes.
see evidence of the positive, which this was.
Yes.
First, it started in with an offer. Hey, do you need help? We'll help you out.
We'll give you a loan. Sure.
Great. You know, we know you're good for it. Awesome. Okay, and it's just because of the mail and this weekend and the timing, you know,
She's
to,
like,
to make this
cool,
happen.
I've received.
Okay, awesome. Okay, then it was all this abundance of recycling deposit to be able to
Where did
take
they
back.
come from? I have no clue.
Multiplied. I swear there was little elves back there multiplying. Here, take another one. Here, take another one. It was hilarious
I wish
to
they would have
watch.
recorded it, but I didn't.
So then, took care of all of that. Okay, I'm helping them clear out their space. I'm
Hey, I have
helping
no problem with
the
that.
environment. It's helping me. So yay! And say, look at this. Now I don't have to borrow money from this person. This is being provided for. I'm helping another person get there. One of the youth from my church, and so I'm going to be reimbursed that way.
Because she's living in an expectancy, something unexpected happened, which she would have never thought of it.
And it was going to be a burden to go pick that person up, but because I also said, hey, I'm going completely
Spoke up.
out of my way to make this happen. I'm happy to help, but look, I'm going to have to backtrack and do this. They said, yep, we'll catch you up, the next day or whatever. And so it all happened because I know I'm supposed to be there at this event.
So trust in the universe, healing how she
So it's
knew
witnessing.
it.
That's a witness to the healing that this shifted. I know I was seeing lack. Now this is abundance.
And what will happen is we'll train a new pathway. Since she already had it there, she couldn't see it. She's training herself to see it by healing the knowing of the blindfold, the veil,
blind spot.
whatever it is, that said that you can't have that because you have more proof over here on this. Well, she healed that out. She changed the end of the world of her, as she knows it has ended. The world as she knows has ended. And that was, I have to have lack, I have to worry,
I have to be burdened. I have to be yelled at for doing what I want to do.
Right, and so we're showing you a different way. Now let's go a little further. They have, now this again is about itchy ears, they have a great deal of guilt and shame for having their wants. We had talked about the fact that you still have some shame in there of you need your wants. Now I was watching, this might be why I was picking it up, being the receiver. I needed a vacuum. Now I've hurt my back, and I already understand that issue. And I didn't want to bother anybody, but yet part of me wanted to ask, but then couldn't ask. So, because to me that was a big thing, because you got a lot of floor covering to do. So instead I asked her if she'd scrub the toilet, which is not a big thing, but it could be a big thing to her because it depends how she defines it.
It wasn't a big deal.
But for me to get the toilet scrubbed, it was very important because I couldn't bend. But the vacuuming I could do, even though it was a struggle, because you got to back and forth with that and using your muscles. The idea of shame for asking what you want. Apparently I have still more healing to do. Now go a little bit further. Like I said, they have a great deal of guilt, shame for having their wants, and that has now become quite intense as an issue. I just gave you an example. They feel that God is not pleased with them because they are encountering needs and desires to connect and form intimate relationships. It could be for some. In this case, does that require, no. With you, what about you? No. So I don't apply to us. One, none, or all could apply. But in this case, that one doesn't apply. Their experience is that this isn't a, what? I can't read it. Stringent.
This
Verbatim?
is am strengsten verboten, mostly strictly forbidden.
That's what that meant. Yet they
That's
can't
German.
continue to suppress. They can't continue to suppress their growing motivation and manifestation. You're changing, and you have to break the mold. And a lot of times, people try to shove themselves back in. It's a matter of considerable conflict for them at the present time, and it is because when you're in your comfort zone. And then you know that you've outgrown it. Try to put a pair of pants on and you've outgrown. And you're going to still try to put those things on. You know logically you can't, so you have to change, give in, go do something else. But when it comes to where it's not tangible like a pair of pants to put on that you've outgrown, and it's just a pattern, a program, and a behavior, sometimes you still try to shove yourself back into it no matter what. And it can become very unhealthy. Okay? This whole complex developed as a function of being relied upon. Ooh, really? I'm supposed to read this. You are. So, we'll see if anything sparks. It's right here.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this last night, that it's a huge issue. This whole complex developed as a function of being relied upon exploitatively as the family hoist, while simultaneously being blamed for everything that went wrong in their family.
Now you need to explain this because you've had it happen, and so you've got your example.
Right, so in dysfunctional families, specifically with alcoholism, there's different roles that people take on within the family. I took on the role of mascot, meaning I put on the little song and dance when we went out as a family unit so that nobody would see anything wrong. I was like, I was the magician, I was putting on the smoke and mirrors, I was the comedian, I was all those things so that you wouldn't see what was going on behind closed doors. And then, so that's like the family hoist, you know, the linchpin holding everything together. But then when I would express my needs and wants, well, why the hell are you doing that? Why are you speaking up? No, all that stuff goes over here. And so then if I express a need, like, oh, I got a new pair of pants, and all of a sudden now they can't pay the mortgage. Oh, well, we shouldn't have gotten you those pants.
Okay,
so that kind of
So let's look at this. Okay, developed as a function of being relied upon. So they expected you to be this gesture and to kind of, okay, the family, the hoist.
What holds it together?
Yes, and so basically you are the mask that needs, another way is that people look and they see this and they can't see the other part.
Right, and if I want to show them the other part, why are you showing us this? No, you're that.
Right, because you can't be that. We need you to be this. Not all consciously. This is all how the souls all work together. Okay? So, but you're being blamed for everything. Well, because she's already humorous and she's already out there and her energy is out there, she's probably going to be more easier to be blamed. Okay? So
right, we see this, so then I can put my finger on it and say, yep, you're to blame.
It's another twist to this. It's like when my sister was growing up, she had to be the worst child possible. She wanted her voice, she forced it. She didn't get her way, she would do it anyway. She wanted this, she would do it anyway. And so she got all the attention and constantly got all the attention that the rest of us got robbed. I didn't get pampered and loved because there was no time for me because she put herself out there.
Squeakiest wheel.
Oh, she was squeaked.
Oil.
I don't think any kind of frickin' oil worked with her. I love her though to pieces. But back then, that's what was happening. So in this case, you got to get all the attention so that people couldn't see the issues.
Right, and then to some degree my sister is mad that I did get all the attention.
Exactly.
Even though she got the attention over here in this way, she probably didn't feel that she was getting attention because I was doing this over there, and I wanted what she had, and she wanted what I had.
But here's the other little twist. She would set her up so she would get attention.
Oh, the negative PR, so that because I was out there and doing this stuff, then she could probably more easily say, oh, well, you know that Jen's doing this, 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 and this, her friends are doing this, 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 and this, and then you need to pay attention to this, 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 and this, and my mom's just like, shut up, I don't need to listen to your 15-minute argument about about her, and so then my sister has thrown all this stuff over there, because now my sister's going out smoking pot, drinking, doing this. Sorry, oops.
But she gets to do it.
But my sister
so
got
smoke and mirrors.
Right. So and she knew my sister could go do that because she put all the attention over here.
Okay, so let's go a little further. This occurred as a function of being This occurred as a function of being. I'm not supposed to read it. You're supposed to read the next line again.
This occurred as a function of being sufficiently superior in some way to their family.
Okay, what does that mean?
So my family thought that, being sufficiently superior, that I was above my family in some way.
Yeah, they probably thought that you couldn't obey rules, you weren't going to
Which is funny because I did make that
Exactly,
effort.
you did, but the way you're portrayed.
Was that I wasn't going to.
Exactly. So they kind of expected that you ain't going to college, you're too busy doing this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can tell she's thinking, all right, so, okay, fine, read.
Okay, so superior in some way to their parents, they were subconsciously placed in loco deity position by their family. They were literally unconsciously experienced as a little god who was betraying the family when they allowed negative things to happen.
Ooh.
So yeah, so I was over here doing this, and if I didn't do my job and somehow something happened, then I could be to blame.
That's huge. That's huge. Oh, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after this. Okay, so did we finish this up? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so
That's
that
a good
is
thing.
one way that the body is saying, hello, you know, here's a message, can you listen to it? And then you have the option, because we have all those healing tools available, to be able to create the closure, to listen. Yes, I acknowledge, okay, body, you were speaking to me, I hear what you're saying, okay, now what to do about it.
Exactly. So, you know, again, I remember the first time Louise Hayes put up something about how the body part represents life as, and
You can heal your life.
Whoa,
Yes, that was revolutionary.
Oh yes,
That
and
would be
someone, because she was presented her stuff, the community, the gay community, found hope, joy, happiness, relief, acceptance, love from her.
Mm-hmm.
So she attracted more in.
Yeah, during the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah, that's right, during the AIDS epidemic. And so she was giving all of that comfort and inspiration to people. And I remember reading all about her, and I'm like, oh God, this is so wonderful. And I don't know what site I got onto, and then someone was blasting her, telling her, she don't know jack because I have this issue, and she don't have the issue, so she don't know what she's talking about. And so they were really being mean. So, again, when we talk about health issues, I know people that are in an extreme amount of pain, suffering, and when I'm very shy, I do keep my voice down and not talk to them, because I know also the boundary of picking your battles. And this is not a battle I need to pick. I can help educate and show people that you can get out of a physical symptom because it can maybe speaking to you. Maybe you feel you need it. There's all these different ways and stories about physical pain, but somehow they all lead back to, are you listening to your soul's language? Mm-hmm. Are you listening to what your soul is speaking of?
And that's fascinating, because Louise Hay had cancer, and she healed herself through all these affirmations.
But he was mad because she didn't have a penis and that she didn't have AIDS. And, you know, again, very nitpicky, and that's where I go into semantics. When a person is very angry because they feel misunderstood, because they haven't got resolution to their pain and their suffering, and they want to be heard, or they want to be sound. There's so many different reasons why a person would be very angry. Well, I'm not gotten. Nobody gets me. Type thing.
Well, it's like the when I posted up about that graviola thing, and that it kills cancer better than chemotherapy or whatever the meme was, and with all that information. And this person, I understand this person had a family member who passed away due to cancer, and it was recent. I understand that, but this person chose to blast me because of their pain, and how dare I post anything when there's not the proof, the accuracy, the this, the that, the other, that you can physically put your finger on to say, you know, and this is out in mainstream and accepted as a way to cure cancer.
But there's only one perspective, and you know, there's never enough, right? Well, I hate that's part of what we're taught, is that there's only one way, one right way. This is it, and there's only one, and it's like, oh hell no. If there was only one doctor, then it would be called a monopoly, and then we'd have to get in a fight. If there was only one doctor, then we all probably say, he's an asshole. Other people say, he's great. That's why there's so many doctors. It's not because we need so many doctors. there's so many different voices of doctors, their belief systems, the way they function, and
Their bedside manner, the way
Yes.
they talk to people, how they draw people in.
and they are meant, everybody, not just doctors, but nurses, not even people that are in the health profession, but everybody is supposed to be gravitated to a certain amount of people, amount of people. And they're supposed to work together with one another. That's why there's such a variety, is because there's so many different belief systems in the way. And just like when people say, well, no, herbs don't work. What about homeopathics? What about a doctor? What about a naturopathic doctor? What about
What about
keep going
acupuncture? What
forever.
about acupressure? What about
So I believe
Reiki? What
everything.
about everything? And then, and it is, if we go back, coming full circle, going to get back ahead of it.
Yes, you
because
have to get ahead of it.
that's the goal. And while the physicians can do certain things that at the same time, understanding how things can work together to be able to get ahead of it.
I needed an operation.
It's called teamwork.
Exactly. I needed an operation, and I'm not shy from doctors. I needed help.
Right.
Because whatever it is, I wasn't getting the information I needed. I wasn't, whatever had to come to the surface wasn't there yet. And sometimes you need certain things to occur in order for other things. So it's like the bigger picture has to unfold. You don't understand why this bad thing had to happen, but it could, the outcome of the better stuff that's coming wouldn't be able to happen if you didn't first blast that mountain out of the way or learn to go around it or whatever it is. We never completely understand, but there is that language, and there's all kinds of help out there, and strictly sticking to one is not going to be healthy. To some degree it's not, because you're going to find out the value of why you don't like it, the value of why you need it, but then they don't work for you. You're going to come to all different kinds of conclusions. Be open, start looking at things, and people don't want to do that because they're like, yeah, but people think that I'm, what do you call the people that are constantly sick?
Hypochondriac.
People are going to consider a hypochondriac.
Well, hypochondriac makes you think that you're sick, but
Right.
a person,
But there's all this name calling that comes with it. That's what I'm
Right,
referring to.
yeah.
Oh, you can't just stick to one thing. You have to try everything. Oh gosh, if you do that, then nothing's going to work.
oh, my friends
It's
made
all of these belief systems.
my friend, when I started, after graduating high school, and now my senior year was quite interesting, beginning with my suicide attempt in the fall of my senior year, getting to, I went to prom, but I had bronchitis. I graduated from high school, but I had a lung infection. And then, but I didn't have a family physician. We would go to an urgent care place, and after graduation, I remember my file was a good 2-3 inches thick just from the last 3-4 years. And this doctor that I hadn't, experienced said, your file seems kind of thick, and with the same, we've been prescribing the same thing over continuously. Have you thought of going to an ear, nose, and throat doctor? And I said, I asked my mom, I said, is that even an option? Oh yeah, we could do that. And I'm thinking, really? Okay, thank you for your information, but really it took me a while to get there. Then I ended up going to an allergist, and then, got the allergy test and all that, and found out what I was allergic to with dust and dust mites and all that kind of stuff. But I was going for a period of my life, I was going to a doctor. I was also going to a chiropractor because of a car accident that I was in. So it seemed like I was always at a doctor, and my friends were making fun of me. Oh, don't you do anything else besides go to the doctor? And it's that name calling, but it was like I was gathering information.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing. I got several things. One they want to talk about, so just give this a yes and no answer. When you were having lung issues, did you have itchy ears? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so when you started getting answers, the lung issues disappeared and your ear issue appeared. The lung issue disappeared and your ear issue appeared.
I think so.
The skin, it was a different surface.
Right.
Okay, now just a little bit, here's the thing. How do people create healthy relationships? And that goes back to the time that you're born. When you start bonding with your parents, guardians, whoever it is, if you start bonding and you learn about healthy relationships, the love, the emotion, and all that in a relationship, you really won't have a problem with relationships out there. Okay? Now, Being that said, there's another part. If your parents were both introverts, but yet gave you a loving relationship, you will still probably not be able to have relationships. But when you have them, you'll probably have them more intimate because you can. You've explained that you've had bonding issues. How old were you when your mother said that all of a sudden she couldn't bond with you?
6 months old.
Okay. And then you said that you couldn't really bond with your sister, correct?
Correct.
Okay, you couldn't really bond with your stepmom or stepdad very well.
Right.
And so you can see a kind of a history that when she had to have a relationship, it would just make her sick. She couldn't take in life, that she always had to have this. But then when they told her, you know what, you don't need to have all these drugs to try to do this. How about if we go to a nose, throat, and ear doctor? Which means they took another perspective and they gave her another solution. So now she didn't have to have it in the lungs. She could actually shift it somewhere else, which in this case I think came to the surface of the skin or the ears in that particular area. And being that she's tonal, okay, she connects and bonds people with her ears. So she listens, and she can be a great listener. She can, if she's stressed, she can hear more than what's there, and we've talked about that time and time again. But so she's having bonding relationship issues. Now what's funny, we're told that me and her cannot really be friends because on an astrological level, we're not. We're not supposed to. But yet we became a spiritual human, and by doing so, we are the best of friends. And we know that somewhere along our soul's line, we've been sisters, we've been everything because we're very familiar to one another. But because we communicate on a soul language, none of the stuff, that humanistic mindset, is getting in the way of taking offense. Our stress levels don't have to be with one another. When something's off, we address it and look at it from a soul's perspective, and we solve it very quickly.
Yeah.
So
within hours, usually.
Yeah, but the bonding is there. You know, and she's actually getting to see a different form of a relationship with me and my husband, because me and my husband are doing a soul bonding thing on it becoming a spiritual human.
Through a marriage relationship.
And so
this is a friend relationship, and then there's their marriage relationship.
So she gets to look at us and see a catalog that, you know what, I don't have to go and do the relationship that I know men and women have when I was growing up, or the one I had. I actually can see there's another perspective, and because she rents a room out of here, she gets to see and witness firsthand the bumps and the grinds and how do you handle it. We create a resolution. What are we doing? So did your mother, during that time, were they able to have a resolution when they fought?
My mom and my stepdad began to, because after my suicide attempt, it's amazing how much therapy you go into. Part of the journey was for them to go into couples counseling. And then they developed their relationship even more after the crisis situation.
See, a bad thing had to occur for some great stuff to happen, so it unfolds.
Right.
We're thankful you didn't follow through.
Yeah. I'm glad whoever needed to intervene.
Yes.
So they took it to the next level, and they still have their bumps and grinds and that kind of thing. But my mom, through listening to us and how I share and the way that I'm talking, and she's still getting epiphanies and shares them with me, and so yeah, so it's not like what you're experiencing, because both of them are not using these kinds of healing tools,
right?
But I see a resolution through the way that they do things,
and that'll help you with your next relationship that you go into. So you have different forms of catalogs, and that's very important. Remember, we started the show about how so we have to get ahead of the thing, how we have to get ahead of the pain, how we have to get ahead of it, because if it doesn't, it can eat us alive. And if we suppress it and we avoid it and we cope and we deal, they're just going to keep, it's like festering. It's putting rubbing salt in the wound. It's going to keep festering. It doesn't take and do anything with it.
Right.
The reason we, the medicine women, are here is that we're here to show you that it works. Becoming a spiritual human has nothing to do with religion. And learning the soul's language, learning these different healing tools, and applying them into your world, you can have a better life. Suffering is now just an option. We got like 15 seconds left, and we want to say thank you for everybody that's in the chat room, who's going to be watching the videos, and who is going to be with us. So we're happy you listen, and
Thanks
we'd
for
love
all
to do
your
all the
support.
shows. Okay, remember, go to the YouTube channel and look for Medicine Revealed to watch the videos. We'll have them up. Bye.
Bye.